Holy crap, that's such a hit.
So they released their top 10 offenses. Colorado's number 8.
This moment in sports history will be remembered as one of the better fights, man. Like,
put the cherry on top, they played Austria today. Guess the score of that game? 32-25 to not medal for Braun.
Hello and welcome to Bros in the Bleachers podcast, episode 12. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We just got a whole ton of new bros to the bleachers this week. So let's give it applause. Give it applause. Clap it
let's
up,
go,
clap it up.
baby. Hey, first row bleacher bros, baby. Let's go. I love it.
That's right.
We're keeping the seats warm.
That's right. If you want to sit first row, subscribe, go follow the Spotify, follow our TikTok. All those links will be in the description. We truly appreciate it. So we'll just get right into it. On this day in sports history.
On this day in sports history.
September 1st. Today, a national tragedy. Roger Goodell got announced as the new commissioner in 2006 on this day.
It has been a national tragedy ever since, Drew. Let me tell you.
A moment
Holy
that
moly.
changed sports.
I mean, this guy sucks. Obviously, he speaks for all the owners, so really all the owners suck. But you got to boo him. We boo collectively towards him.
Is there an owner?
Take the fall.
Is there an owner in sports, or I'm sorry, not an owner, a commissioner in sports that's hated more than Goodell? I know that for a while, Bud Selig and a couple of the MLB commissioners back in the day were definitely not of public opinion. But anyone that we know of that's any worse than Roger Goodell?
We have Rob Manfred, we have Gary Bettman of the NHL. I like Gary, but then I also don't like Gary at the same time. It's very tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, like he's eager to expand, which is always fun. But I mean, pre-pitch clock, probably Manfred, I would say.
Yeah. And then basketball, Silver. I think Silver's a pencil neck dork, but that's just me.
He's a little bit of a dork, but honestly, I will tell you that from the growing the game perspective, I think Silver's been really good for the NBA. But man, Goodell is. I feel like everyone we just said there, like there's a little bit of an upside, and then there's Goodell, and it's kind of like,
Let's just strip everything that football is to bare bones to what the actual violent sport is supposed to be. So
love Goodell. No, we don't.
And then my second one is that New York City changed the laws of pool being changed to billiards.
Gang.
Oh, I love that.
That's it. That's all I had.
Hey, that's a true moment in sports history. I remember when no, I'm just kidding. I'd never called it a billiard hall in my entire life. I've always called it pool.
Where were you when pool got changed to billiards?
Say, you want to play some billions?
See.
Well, I think it's the perfect segue, Josh. What's your day in sports history?
I mean, similar to billiards and sports that are sports in a sense. Mine is that in 1972, American chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer beats Russian champ Boris Spassky, 12.5 to 8.5. Don't ask me what that means. I don't know. But he won in Reykjavik, Iceland, which is very cool. Apparently it was the most publicized world title match played. I put maybe of the time because maybe there's been one more important since. Not sure. Don't ask me. And then Fischer becomes the first American at the time to win the title. So he set the standard early, 72.
I tried to get in chess for like 5 days, and I think the point system is by 12.5 to 8.5 because each piece counts for a certain amount of points. So maybe he collected that amount of points. But yeah, French defense, Italian defense, gambit, queen gambit. Yeah, all that. I know that. Yeah, chess.
Of course you do, right? Yeah. Again, I feel like that's got to be on the ESPN, the Ocho weekend. They got to bring that in if they don't already. Is they got to bring in the chess tournaments for sure.
Extreme chess.
Similar to like a couple weeks ago when I was on, we got another round of guess how much they won. So for the title, 1972, how much do you think Bobby Fischer took home in winnings?
In 1971,
$5 and a hot dog,
a ham sandwich and a handshake. No, I'll go with let's say $50,000.
Well, I'll probably guess like $2,000.
Ooh, so it was $156,000.
Bobby, let's
Well, I
go.
mean, there's got to be some analogy there for like chess being like this is war is for boys and chess is for the men or something like that. There, the I guess the prize winnings
Endless now.
with that, right? Be a chess grandmaster today.
150 grand in 1970. I don't know what the math breaks out to on that, but good stuff, Bobby. That is electric. Drinks are on Bobby.
Inflation calculator right here.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that.
Lots of 70s muscle cars and what we would all do with our winnings.
Yeah, ain't that maybe hopefully he was in the cars or he just got a sick chessboard made out of pure crystal.
Exactly.
Well, I don't wait, Jake, did you have yours?
Oh, buddy, I have mine, and let me tell you, it's as out of left field as all of these other ones have been. All right, so I've never even heard of this pitcher before, so I just want to preface this. But on September 1st in 1958, this is his real name, Vinegar Bend Mizzle. Throws one of the weirdest games I have ever seen pitched on the MLB or in the MLB ever. He threw a complete game, 9 inning shutout, 4 hits, 1-0 game. Okay. But that the weirdest part about all of this is that Vinegar Mizell is on the team that won the game. They went they won the game 1-0. He had 9 walks in that game and 1 strikeout. And that just to me is just an insane stat to where he walked 9 batters and they still won the game. I didn't end up again 1958 baseball. I'm not able to find the plate counter and where everybody was on base at the correct times. But the coolest stat from that season is that throughout the entire 1958 season, he walked more batters than he struck out. He walked 91 batters. He struck
Oh
out
my God.
80. So shout out Vinegar Ben Mizzle.
I mean, imagine if you put a catcher back there that was good at framing, just see what could happen.
You put in one of the legendary ones right now.
Mm-hmm.
He got guys sitting on top of that ball big time.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it looked like at least from the stats that I could pull up that it wasn't like hit by pitch. Like it was your legitimate 4 pitch walks and it maybe one intentional walk there, but again, the fact that he got 9 walks and they won the game 1-0 just is insane to me.
Yeah, Vinegar Chips said, take your launch angle and shove it.
Hey, salt and vinegar, baby. Let's go.
Maybe probably played some billiards afterwards.
Yeah, right.
He's in the billiard halls for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, wait, Drew, when did your pool the billiard thing change? Because this is Vinegar Bend Mizell throwing in the 1958 season. Is that around when pool and billiards flipped?
NYC changed the law in 1922.
Oh, okay, no, we're nowhere near that. Okay, all right.
Oh.
So Vinegar was calling it billiards for a long time throughout his MLB playing career. Okay,
Nobody calls it pool anymore, old man.
old man, come on,
What are you from the silent generation?
get off my lawn.
A horse and buggy.
Uh, but now that moves us into college football, week 1. A lot of games happened, a lot of action, a lot of money was won and lost between collectively all of us. Who wants to dive in first? What game you want to get off your chest?
I'll start.
Don't scream on me at once, guys.
I'll start with Iowa. I mean, it was clearly the game was a tale of two halves. The first half, I mean, we were on the absolute heater of a conspiracy theory that Kirk Ferentz hired a worse offensive coordinator to protect his son's legacy. But clearly, I guess in the second half, that wasn't true. Cade McNamara said, "You're hurting my legacy," and decided to ball out and become literally the first Iowa quarterback with 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks since 2021, which doesn't seem like that long, but it's only the third of the playoff era for that team. So
Hey, I got a bone to pick with you. I asked if I should take Iowa or not. You said no, and I didn't hit it, and I'm so sad.
we were so in on the first half. Like it was, they only had what? They had 6 points. Yeah, 6 points going into half.
That was like an angry cover from them at the end. You know what I mean? That was just like a fine, I'll do it myself moment. They just showed up and did it.
A new era. They saw the tweets. They saw the tweets.
They definitely took some Adderall at the halftime.
Locked in.
Crammed. I want to go next. The Miami game versus Florida. Miami versus Florida. Absolute
Great
electric
game.
house.
Oh
Loved it.
yeah,
It's all about the U. Let's go.
by all the
Um,
use will sell me.
yes, you did call the U. That's for sure. So far, the leading in the house, the clubhouse for taking the ACC.
Well, hey, if you're going to get to call one, then I get to call one too. Throw up the clip from Penn State from last week, baby. Penn State with an angry cover after the rain delay and everything. I don't know if you saw the weather that was going on. Like they were showing the halftime break, and in the background, I'm pretty sure it's Mark Ingram who was on the call. And there's a lightning bolt that's like perfectly like framed back behind him. It was nuts. So
That's an
again,
awesome pick.
Penn State again. We were all kind of shanking on Drew Aller a little bit last week, but again, we'll jump into it a little bit later in the segment. But Penn State, not Drew Aller, Penn State showed up and they just absolutely shoved it. So again, good job for the boys.
I will say I did take Penn State into parlay, so reverse jinx. I reverse jinx myself, so it did hit. But you
There you
guys,
go.
they played West Virginia, and West Virginia is not that good in my opinion. So I'm gonna keep sipping my haterade over here on the
Oh
Drew
yeah,
Aller stinks. But
I had West Virginia in the pick'em, and I think in a couple of mine, and that looked pretty bad. Uh, but yeah, I mean, like Penn State. I mean, hopefully they make the playoff. Hopefully they're in a spot there. Necessarily, will it be enough to compete with Ohio State, Oregon? I don't know.
do not get me started on Oregon. I am so mad I took that game. Who's a 44 and a half point favorite and you win by 10 against Idaho? The Vandals?
Hardy Idaho boys.
The best team stadium in the whole dang league.
Hey,
It's
listen, Drew.
Ivito.
I don't know if it was on Prospect Watch, but the Idaho Vandals did finish second in the Big Sky last year, according to my notes. So again, I don't know. It
Oh,
seems like Oregon did not do their homework and watch out for the contenders in the Big Sky, if you will.
Yeah, Matt, if you're listening to this, talking all about, oh, Tez Johnson, oh, Dylan Gabriel, and even myself hyping up that stupid team, and they just came out so flat and I got screwed.
So with all of that being said, I think again, Matt, when you're listening to this, you had an all-time weekend, buddy. I mean, Colorado ended up winning, Penn State won. I'm excited for the next time he's on the pod. Let me tell you.
We
oh
all
yeah.
watched the Colorado game, right?
Oh,
Oh
of
yeah.
course. Yeah. And I mean, listen, the Buffs didn't cover, but I mean, at the end of the day, they got the job done. It was scary. It was sweaty. I think that the big takeaway that we got from all of this, and it goes exactly to what you said last week, Drew, is that Shador showed up and it was a little bit scary and he did stat pad a little bit. I mean, the guy had 400 something yards and
Oh,
just absolutely ran it. You know what I mean? But they showed up.
they did show up, but at what cost? They made so many dumb mistakes. Did you see them go for it on 4th and 1 on their own 35 and then not get it?
That's prime time, baby. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I
And
mean, it's
then
certainly a decision to try to win in the trenches against a Dakota State school. Either of them.
when they were trying to switch personnel, offense to defense, they couldn't get it on in time, so Shador had to fake a cramp. So yeah, that was great. And then he threw that pick that could have been a touchdown off that guy's foot, and then it bounced up in the interception. And then listening to that game also sucked. Mark Jones just sucking off, sipping that Kool-Aid for Colorado, just talking about how great they are.
I mean, I would
Yeah,
say the O
and
line certainly showed out better though
yeah,
than last year.
definitely an improvement, but they got a lot to clean up as far as not stat padding because they're still throwing deep balls with less than a minute, and State got the ball back, and yeah, almost threw a Hail Mary if that QB's arms stronger. So
It got sweaty, but we made it happen, you know.
got very
Gotta go.
sweaty.
He's got to go bail some more hay.
Well, let me tell you about a game that was not sweaty, and it was Wyoming versus Arizona State. And I know that again we're all big U of A supporters, so again, kind of blindly going into week one, it was just a blind. We're against ASU, and we had Wyoming Unfortunately, to just see them absolutely crumble. It was just one of those games where I wanted to turn it off as soon as it was on. Basically, the quarterback literally first throw of the game threw a pick six, so it was one of those like, okay, I might just need to turn this off and cry. So Wyoming was not the play at all, and I'm not saying by any means that ASU is the play, but damn, did they look like a great team against them. They put up like 500 yards and 7 yards a play or something like that is gross.
Stupid. The Mountain West did not send their best.
Agreed.
Mm-mm. And transitioning to the better Arizona school about 90 minutes south. What are you guys' thoughts on that game?
I definitely had it as kind of, it felt like the first half was a lot of just knocking the rust off. We clearly played a team that played the week prior, and we had to face, unfortunately, a dual threat quarterback. And it seemed like, yeah, there was a lot of just trying to figure out coverages, figuring out whose assignment is who, because clearly they stressed that we are a man defense. But I mean, the second half there were some good adjustments. I think that was definitely a stock up game for us and that coaching staff. Definitely having a little more faith in them than we already had beforehand, which we were clearly optimistic on them beforehand.
I will tell you, probably the biggest piece that I got from it was just seeing how poised Fafita was. Like, obviously, like we saw it in like bits and pieces last year, but just like again, him being able to just kind of really feel chill and kind of be there in the pocket. And again, not playing his toughest opponents like he will all year, but just being able to sit back there and kind of kick his feet up on a couple of those plays. And it was very nice to watch. And again, got a little bit sweaty in the first half, but they got it done too. So that's all that matters.
Touch on that pocket presence compared to other college quarterbacks. He didn't take unnecessary rollouts. He stepped up, he rolled out when he needed to out of the pocket and just threw dimes to Tyrone McMillan. And it was
Chef's kiss, baby. I mean, again, the
As long
guy's
as they
going
can
for he's going for 200 something yards, 4 touchdowns. Again, Buddy's going to be a top pick in the NFL. We all knew it. We all know it. And I'm excited to see it happen in about a year from now.
Oh yeah.
I would like to insert Michael Irvin clip where he's going like finger licking good. That's how I felt watching that game.
Oh yeah. And I mean, yeah, anytime there was anything out of structure, it just became backyard football. And at that point, you just allow Noah Fafita and McMillan to just continue to like stress that connection at any point in the field, at any point in time. They're just gonna send it for a touchdown.
Oh yeah. But yeah, work on the defense. We don't need to be giving up 30 points, especially when we gonna have to play Kansas State in a week or two. Actually, 2 to 3 weeks. What do we play? NAU next weekend or something like that?
Oh yeah.
I
Which
we
they
we
had a good
should axe the
opening week.
Lumberjacks. Let's hope we do.
Yeah, then Lumberjacks ain't gonna be doing too much, that's for sure.
No, hopefully not.
And then transitioning from football, I just wanted to babble on some baseball really quick. Some stuff I saw. Dylan Cruz is elite for the Washington Nationals. Just want
I
to throw
love
that
it.
out there. Did you guys see Travis Janikowski's catch an outfield to rob a walk-off against the White Sox?
That was sick.
Yeah,
Oh, amazing.
just Superman. Well, not he didn't Superman, but he just over
If
the
you're getting
wall.
it, but if you're getting
Legend.
anything over the wall, I mean, that's something that you want to note. Like again, those are the freeze frames or like the slow-mos that they'll show on like the MLB intros for like the next like year and a half. You know what I mean? So good job, Travis.
And then moving on to the White Sox, since that was who that robbed that home run, they had 17 people in attendance for one of their games.
Oh, I easily would have made it 18 if I was Chicago.
To the specifics, if it was a rain delay or whatnot, I'm not too sure. But Shohei's dog threw out the first pitch.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
that was
awesome.
great. The gold bobblehead that came along with it. I don't know if you saw the line that was in LA leading up to the stadium and whatnot, but it was an absolute madhouse. Definitely recommend looking into some of the interactions, let's call it, that were going on around the stadium.
It was gold bobblehead night.
Yes, it was Shohei. I forget the dog's name and I really should know it, but Shohei and his dog, it was a gold figurine bobblehead. It was awesome.
I had it. It was some kind of weird name
Oh,
as
his
in
dog's name is
what?
Decoy.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what
there
it
you
is.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Decoy.
it's Shohei and Decoy. And Decoy threw out a legendary first pitch. I mean, again, just getting it right down the middle. Good dog, good job, good pitch.
And then next, I had 33-year-old Brady Fiegel makes MLB debut for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Was in the minors for about 11 years. So I just want to make a point. Never give up on your dreams. Keep doing what you're doing about what you're passionate about. It's just a great story. And if you're that person still chasing their dreams, don't stop. So I just want to point that out. And then Chewbacca announces play ball.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I think against the Cubs game, I think. Could be wrong, but
Hey, we've had some really good like game entertainment pieces into like the entry of games recently. You know what I mean? Like Chewbacca, I saw that I forget one of the gymnasts was doing like flips and whatnot leading into the first pitch. Like decoy, obviously. There's some
Grimace.
good momentum. Grimace, right? There's some good momentum going into this.
we previously talked about Machine Gun Kelly firing it,
Yep.
There you go. Yep.
and even
Just
just to keep it in Cleveland for. I mean, Emmanuel Clase became the all-time leader in saves for the franchise. He's only played for 4 years, um, 26 years old. Just an absolute animal.
is there any better closer in baseball than him right now?
Absolutely not. I think I mean one of the like just weirdo stats I like is just ERI plus, and he has a 589, which I think what it average is 100, and so he's like 500 times better than average closer. So having a
I can't
season,
I can't tell you of another closer, at least as of right now, that's being a little bit more dominant in the MLB, frankly. I mean, like, I know that there's pitchers that can go out there, and if you had to ask them to give you like one inning, whether they're, starter, reliever, closer, like, there's guys that can throw, Mason Miller throws 104, right? Like, there are other guys that have dominant stuff, but Class A is really being able to show that he could put just like the period at the end of the game.
it's crazy because it's not even strikeouts. Like it's just anything that's in the zone, you just can't get squared up. So you're just putting balls in play that are weak or flying out. So yeah, he's just always efficient when he goes out there. Having an all-time season. I mean all-time season in saves. He's got 40 right now.
I mean, the man throws a
Shoving.
101-mile-per-hour cutter.
Oh yeah.
What do you know his walkout song?
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh, because that whatever that song is probably the most intimidating thing to be the next batter.
Oh yeah. I mean, Baseball Reference should totally. They should include that with everything.
Right next to like nicknames and like how tall you are, they have like
Okay?
current walkout song or like
I do it
known
like an
for
old mic
walkout song.
speaker that just goes.
Heck yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we move on to our next segment?
No, I mean, I guess while I'm here, we got to talk a little bit about baseball. We're already doing it. I'm just gonna go ahead and give me my roses. You can pull up the clip of when we're talking about Judge and getting his career high in RBIs. My man's is just continuing to mash. He's currently at 123 RBIs prior to today's game. Again, that career high number that we were looking for is 131. That's a couple months ago. 26 games to get 9 more. Just cash it in. Thank you, thank you. And
Give
that's my
yourself a
that's
pat on
my
the back.
yeah. No,
Play my
I
music.
will.
Play my music.
Yeah, play my damn theme music. No, but really outside of that, that's kind of the main thing. Obviously, there's been some new videos that we've been putting out, and I'll address the rumors that the parlay did lose that we put out. And I will say that it was because of Willie Adames that day, but frankly, he is absolutely mashing baseballs recently. I was bored this morning and I was looking up the stats since that TikTok. And in the 6 games since he's had since that TikTok, he's gone 9 for 26, which is a 346 average, 808 slugging, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 1 stolen base. And he's not the best hitter in the world because he struck out 7 times during that span as well. But he also crushed a ball today and also struck out today. So I'm not saying he's the new version of Adam Dunn, but he's definitely getting us close to it.
I really wanted to scream out 808 Mafia when you put out that 808 stat.
There you go. Throw the clip in now.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up. We're going to move on to our bench or play. A lot of stuff that happened this week. I got something I want to get off my chest. So I am benching this week, benching the UCLA offense ran by Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy last year coached for the Washington Commanders, and I had to watch him run about 50 pass plays in a row to where the defense would just be able to sack Sam Howell for $1 million. And he did a downgrade of a job to coach UCLA's offense as coordinator, and they barely beat Hawaii 16-3. I'm selling Eric Bieniemy, bench him. I hate him. Get rid of him. You're not a guru. It was all Andy Reid. That's all I have to say.
Playing the Hawaii spread always.
Yeah,
I thought about it.
no, I mean, listen, like Hawaii is one of those schools that you always got to watch out for. But to your point, that UCLA team just looked awful
Awful.
yesterday. Awful. And Hawaii didn't look, exceptionally great. Like I will tell you, like while watching that game, there were some balls that were pretty poorly dropped by some Hawaii receivers. And I want to say there was at least one tipped interception, if not another. But again, it's one of those teams that, especially, since the Pac-12 is dead and there's not really the Pac-12 after dark, I always have some sympathy in my heart for Hawaii. Just got to be able to just sprinkle.
With one constant.
Yeah, so Eric Bieniemy, you can sit on the bench, and I can't stand him. That's all I have to say.
Well, I can go into my bench. On my side, my bench, I've never been a huge fan of this team, but they've officially entered the ultimate bench mode, if you will, and it's Vatek. Vatek is on the list not only because they're the only double-digit favorite to lose yesterday, so you get benched for that for sure. Okay, but I just want to take you through a moment with me. Okay, we're watching the Vatek game yesterday, and there's a moment where Vatek is basically has two players that end up being on the field at the same time that have the same jersey number. And apparently it's common in college football where there's multiple players that have the same numbers, they play on different sides of the ball, whatever. And this is on a punt return specifically. And there's two guys that are wearing the number 0 and they go and they make their play, whatever. But basically this ends up getting the other team now into a position to where now it's a first down and Vatek now loses a possession. And they ended up losing the entire game from basically then on forward from Vanderbilt. And if any time that the Vanderbilt quarterback looks good, I just want to go ahead and point this out. That's a problem,
No, Diego Pavia is a baller. He's good.
No. I understand, but I'm just saying not just Diego. Diego's great, right? But if we're using previous to Diego, because Diego's a freshman, right? If the Vanderbilt quarterback statistically is ever looking good, that is a problem for the other team. You know what I mean? So again, Vatek is on the ultimate bench forever. I might fade him for every game throughout the season moving forward. Not a fan.
Virginia Tech, if anybody was wondering.
Yeah, Vatek. They don't get to be called that name by me until they win another football game. So that's Vatek.
Yeah, Virginia was for the haters in this household yesterday with Jake.
We were not happy.
Virginia's for the haters. I see what you did there. All right, Josh, lay it on us.
So my bench easily is Texas A&M. I mean, portions of their defense they're talented. They're pretty legit. They've got some stuff. Mike Elko, I think certainly he has them moving in the right direction. But I mean, the bigger bench has to be their starting quarterback. I mean, Connor Wigman, he was afraid. I don't understand how you're at home and you're afraid in your own stadium because I mean, he is going to look awful in these other SEC stadiums. Like he could not complete anything deep in the field. They had an average 3.3 yards per attempt across the whole game. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put a lot of stock in Riley Leonard as far as like the guy I want to be in charge of my program, but I mean, he puts his body on the line, which you can count on. That's nice.
And listen,
yeah.
I think Notre Dame defense looked good. I would tell you that I think A&M's offense looked worse than Notre Dame's defense looked good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Connor Wegman, again, I wouldn't say that when we were watching that game that there were any completions that really were like, oh, whoa, that's a top level play. Like maybe one or two that I can think of. But again, otherwise, it just felt like scared high school football. And the fact that you're doing that at home too is just diabolical. That's not, no.
I mean, that's already like considered a legendary environment, and I get that. But yeah, Notre Dame was 2 for 12 on third downs. I mean, that could just be the environment, that could be that defense, but I think the A&M defense certainly could be moving in the right direction, but as far as if the other side of the ball can't muster more points, then you're going to lose more games.
The Texas A&M hate continues on this podcast. We're gonna continue trashing them.
Absolutely.
All the A&M fans who have come at us. Sorry about it. It's all in good fun though. It's nothing
Oh,
nothing personal, but it's just, we're gonna continue to trash
Texas
on
has a
them.
lot of schools. I got to have one least favorite.
Exactly.
Well, hey, Drew, before we just leave A&M in the dust and only give them a little bit of hate, I want to bench one more if you'll let me. Um, I'm gonna bench with Florida, and it's not because of the outcome of yesterday's game, right? Like obviously, like Miami really waxed them. Cam Ward looked like a beast. That's not what we're benching here.
No,
What
that
we're
offensive line was a beast. He
Oh
was a
yeah,
mistake dinner.
yeah. You're
Oh
right. You're
yeah.
right. Yeah, Miami's offensive line. I mean, that guy could build a house with the amount of time that he had. But
But
uh,
continue.
what we're benching in that game specifically is the fact that Florida hasn't retired the number 15.
Yeah.
Can we be real
Oh
for a
yeah.
second? Like the fact that their quarterback is running the RPO against Miami at home wearing the number 15, and your name's not Tim Tebow. Like I
Yes.
just I want the red jersey across, like when he's got the turf. Like I was I was so pissed. And I just think that Florida is doing itself a disservice by that jersey's not being retired already.
Tebow was there. He was at that game.
And
Oh
maybe
yeah. He
he's
was
too
chilling.
humble of a guy to where he's just like, no, I don't need that. I'm a Gator for life. But no, screw that. You need your jersey retired. You're Tim F and Tebow. Come on.
Graham Mertz, Wisconsin quarterback commit to start out. What can any other Wisconsin quarterbacks have been good since Russell Wilson? No, this guy was terrible. Everybody was hyping him up. This guy stinks. You let him have number 15 with your best college football player probably ever. Like, come on.
And he threw bad picks. Like he did not represent the jersey at all. And again, we're talking one game. I don't want to get too overhyped here. He also got
Like
annihilated.
their schedule's also awful. So
Yeah, no, but they're going to be doing a lot of disservice to the number 15 if they're going to let this guy continue to wear it. I mean, you should have just really capped it off with Tebow there. Holy moly.
Well, he got
piece of
hurt
tape,
in the
make it a
game.
6.
Yeah, he got annihilated in the third quarter. It
He
was
got sandwiched between those two Miami defensive ends. That defensive end number 9, I'm not sure what his name is, but he was game wrecking, game wrecking that Gator O line.
yeah, Miami looked very much like the better team all throughout the game, every side of the ball, clear cut, not a problem.
Oh yeah. Shout out Xavier Restrepo.
Oh,
7 receptions,
dude.
112 yards. Whew.
Yeah,
Insane.
that dude has moves. Did you see the 6 spin move he did?
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
got everybody out of the way too.
That the one
He's
that defender like definitely lost some ligament on.
I think he actually tore his ACL. Like that was the guy that legit they like called out the medical team after that play.
yeah, I think you're right. The
I
safety.
yeah, no, like I saw it on. I'm not gonna use it for best or worst tweet, but like yeah, no, that I'm pretty sure that happened, and we could find the clip for that.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a receiver for Miami that's getting drafted 3rd round. He's like, he has a lot of upside, and maybe he has like some stupid like bad stock for like whatever reason. But he's 3rd round pick. He'll be sick in the NFL, I hope, if he does get drafted. But that'll wrap up bench replay. We're moving on to a brand new segment, Heisman Stock Watch, thought about by these two gentlemen currently with me. Jake, this was kind of your birth of an idea. So whose stock is going up and down? Let's start it out.
Yeah, let's get it rolling. All right, so for today, we're gonna be talking through top Heisman odds. Drew will throw it up for us. I should say, oh, I can't get my directions right, but all right, there we go. He's throwing it on the screen. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking through each one of these quarterbacks and whether we are buying or selling, or in this case, because it's Bros in the Bleachers, whether we are benching or playing their Heisman odds. So whether we're going to keep them exactly where we're at, or if you're going to move them up, that would be your play. And if you're going to bench them, that would mean that you're moving them down, if not even taking them off of the list, right? So we're going to start off with the first person on the odds today, and we have Dylan Gabriel. And I think that this will be a fun one that we get to talk about him being number 1. Drew exploding earlier in the podcast, I think might allude to where he's going to be on it. But, frankly, I think that one of the biggest things to mention with this guy is that, again, it's week 1. He's fitting into a new system. There's big things to go. I don't think that the reaction of me benching him and moving him down on the list is anything to like shake your head at. Again, he played against an Idaho Vandals team that I don't think is anything that people should be afraid of in any means. So I will bench him, but I will not be removing him from the bench, if you will. So I will be taking him a little bit down on the list from number 1, but I will be not taking him off the top 5 list, if you will.
Yeah, I'm benching him. He can go. He can go to number 4 for me personally. I think that's fair. Actually, no, I take that back. I'll move him up to 3, going from first back to down to third. Uh, his stats are great. I mean, he had a insane completion percentage. He had 41 out of 49, 2 touchdowns, and almost eclipsed 400 yards. But
Like
a
how?
lot of some down the field plays, a lot of dump offs, only getting 14 points in the first half. That's pretty pathetic. I'm sorry. You're Oregon. You have this crazy Lambo Ferrari offense. You should be putting up way more points. Defense probably got tired because they didn't put up any points in the third quarter. And that's what I feel for Dylan Gabriel. To put him at 3, benching.
I will be caboosing the bench train 1,000%. I mean, next week they go in and they play BSU, so I mean, hopefully they have a better showing there. I hope not, because personally, that is my hometown team. So I mean, a little bit tougher of an opponent. Hopefully, I would think maybe the favorite for the Group of 5 playoff spot, if I can be so bold. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know how you can be 41 for 49 with 2 TDs, 380 yards. Because I mean, I think when I looked, his like average depth of target wasn't even all that low. So it wasn't like it was just hitting guys in space. They just couldn't break the plane. So yeah, I don't know. A little bit of a bench, a little bit, but definitely wait and see. Also, he's a 6-year quarterback, right?
Right.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, be a finished product, homie. I mean, there was no turnovers, but you're playing the FCS, like stomp them into the ground.
And in a week where there were just so many big performances from so many other quarterbacks, I think that, again, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I think there'll be some plays that we probably have on this list too. So again, I see him moving from that number 1 spot. It looks like we're all in that. So let's move on to the next guy. And again, this might be another one that's kind of up or down. I'm curious to get everybody's opinion on this. Carson Beck. So again, Carson Beck right now, current odds have him at number 2. Has him at plus 750 right now, according to BetMGM. In my opinion, I think that this isn't something where you're really going to move him from his position. Like Georgia had a really damn dominant game. Clemson, they had him a little bit. They had him with some chunk yardage. There weren't some like great plays by any means. But frankly, he went 23 of 33, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is probably going to be, if not their hardest opponent, one of the hardest opponents that they play of the year, at least in my opinion. So frankly, I'm going to play him in his exact position. I'm going to keep him at number 2.
I'm hardcore benching him, put him down 4 spots for me. I thought that first half was pathetic. I get it's the first game, it's in the Mercedes Dome, but you're a Heisman candidate. That run game that they had helped him out a lot, especially that being not there, even their starting running back, to help him be able to have the play action to throw down the field to get that 40-yard completion he had and some touchdowns. And that defense carried that team. So I feel that the numbers don't really add up. I was not impressed with Carson Beck to start out this game so far, and he'll probably have some really good games against like Mississippi State or some Bush League team like that. Put him down 4 spots. I wasn't impressed.
And I'll tell you, Drew, that's why I'm keeping him in the play position, though, is I think that at the end of the day, like this is probably going to be his one bugaboo game. You are 100% right in the fact that that Georgia team bailed him out in every position that they could, and that's how they won the game, is everything besides Carson Beck. But I don't think he did anything remarkably bad to be able to move him off of the position in any way. And again, this just sets the Georgia up for another, potentially undefeated season, championship winning, right? So that I think that you keep him there at least for that.
Or maybe I'm just mad because he had made me sweat out that bet in the first half and thinking, wow, maybe they can't get minus 13.5 at what I took them. Maybe that's why I'm benching him. Who knows? We'll never know. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Not that you'd be spiteful on the pod or anything because of that. Come on, Drew.
Never. I'm completely unbiased. But Josh, what do you feel?
I am a tentative play. I think, I mean, to me, I think this year he's almost the same to me as last year, like a Jalen Milrose, Milrow, who's also on the list. I mean, I would almost take him over Dylan Gabriel just because kind of it's the same situation where there's a lot of Ferraris on that team that can bail you out. And I think again, they play Tennessee Tech next, so another game where you just expect a check down merchant to continue to check down merchanting. So yeah, I'm a tentative play. I mean, I could see him moving down five. I could see him moving out of the top five just because at the end of the day, like if there's some wide receiver that you're checking down to constantly that's running, 97 yards to the end zone every single time when you hand him the ball, then like you might want to try to pick that guy over Carson Beck.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there was anything alarmingly special that I saw from Carson Beck. So again, I think that him staying at exactly two, maybe if anything, getting tied with some guy and get pushed out to three, at least in my personal opinion, I totally see that. But again, I think that Georgia team is going to be dominant, and that might keep him on the list there.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on to our next guy. Next guy on the list is Cam Ward. We have him at plus 950. And again, we've already talked about it in the pod, but damn, did that Miami team look good. Damn, did he have the pocket presence. I know that we're giving a lot of roses to the O-line, but Cam Ward threw some nice balls. He picked apart that defense. Again, the numbers that I had, he was probably my most poised quarterback that I saw of the weekend, besides Noah Fafita, of course, because, bear down. But 26 of 35, 385 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was definitely a tip. And the WSU transfer just absolutely balled out, in my opinion. So I'm going to definitely keep him on the list. I'm putting it as a big play. I think that this team with Miami, if they ball out like they kind of looked like they did, it could remind us a little bit of like the LSU kind of, Jalen Daniels kind of play that we had last year, where it's like, all right, a little bit of not the best team in the world. They're not necessarily making the big kind of playoff run, but damn, is that guy electric? And I don't know, I'm playing that for sure.
I'm also going to play him up one spot. I was so happy to see the way they played. And initially in the game, he was a little jumpy. He definitely escaped the pocket a lot quicker, had some big run plays, maybe stay in the pocket a little bit longer. But that offensive line gave him, I wouldn't put him higher, but that offensive line gave him he could read a book back there. That's how much time he had. 10 seconds, 8 seconds, but he did make some incredible throws and that they were great. I was impressed, so I'm gonna play Cam Ward up one spot.
Oh yeah, I'll be huge playing him all the way up to my number one. I mean, I are we can we be scared? Can I lean down here and just quietly be like, is the U back? And then we can save that. We can table that for later. We can overreact over week one. I'm totally okay with it. I mean, I had to count, I had to double check. He completed a pass to 10 different players. So finally, a quarterback at the U that can read a defense and just pick it apart. That's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what we saw. And I thought it was awesome. And he certainly is going to launch up to be my number one for where they're at on the list.
He will be the first quarterback to throw over 4,000 yards for Miami. Miami is the equivalent to Chicago Bears for college football when it comes to quarterbacks. It's been so long. I agree, Josh. Hammer him, pick the plus 950, but Steven's still available. Vegas already knows. So, but hammer.
I mean, I'm
Vegas
pretty sure
knows.
this is think so that I took this screenshot. So
Hey, they might even know in the time between that. Who knows? We'll see.
let's
But
see.
let's move on to the next guy on our list, and that's Jackson Dart, and he's at plus 1,000. And I have an interesting piece. So the 3 prior guys that we just talked about, right? Dylan Gabriel, Carson Beck, Cam Ward, right? All 3 of them won their games. All 3 of them statistically had fine games or great games. You know what I mean? But I looked this up. Jackson Dart had an insane passer rating in the game. And not only did Jackson Dart, but a ton of other players throughout the weekend did. And for top passing efficiency in games of all time, the top 16 spots are now held by games that happened in week one. Just let that marinate for a second, okay? The top 16 passer efficiency performances of all time came from a week this week. And Jackson Dart is number 4 on that entire list. And Buddy balled out again, playing against a nobody school. Again, but I think that at the end of the day, he showed up. He deserves to be on the list. I'm playing him for the Heisman. He's got the private jet partnership. He's got the cool media appeal to it. And again, I think that he's a guy that you got to keep on the list. 13 of 21 for 322 yards and 4 touchdowns. The former USC transfer definitely balled out. So again, 76-0 is nothing to knock your head out. I'm playing him.
Oh yeah, did it in a half too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be tentative on this one. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's Furman? I'm a college football fan. I never heard of Furman before. Where are they? Well, I'm aware of them because of their tourney bid to college basketball, and they were a 13 seed, and we thought, oh, they're going to be sick. But getting back to football, yeah, they're a pretty unknown school. Sorry, Furman University goers. But Jackson Dart is this touted super offensive weapon. I think he was able to pick apart a not so great team. So I'm going to hold off the stats. I mean, you got to love, how could you not love that? So whether he beats his previous year of around like 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, maybe he blows those stats out of the water. Maybe Ole Miss goes off like Matt and I predicted in our SEC predictions. So I'm just going to be tentative. I'm going to keep old Jackson in the middle, neither player bench.
Yeah, I'm right along there with Drew. I marked down him as a play-ish. Yeah, he did it all in the first half, which is impressive. Five TDs. Notes here. I mean, I really had no reason to watch this game. They paid they paid Furman $500,000 for that game. So, and they roll into Middle Tennessee next. So, a lot of stat padding is probably going to happen. Uh, yeah, I can't wait to see how they really fare with that SEC schedule. It seems like they don't really have a tough schedule, and it's not until they play Kentucky in like week 5 to where we might see a defense that, um, puts up some sort of more of a fight. You never know, any given Sunday. But yeah, I'm a play-ish. I'm gonna leave them.
Yeah, it was definitely a stat patter of a game. Anytime that you're winning 76-0, and I think Josh, to your point, he got pulled if not at halftime, like maybe a
He got pulled
snap
at
in the
half.
third quarter. Yeah, there you go. Okay, perfect. I love it.
Even
Well,
defending our next.
jolting right along to the 5 spot, Nico Yamaveava. And again, I am playing the hell out of this guy. I mean, come on, like started the entire game with 10 completions. He looked poised. He looked ready for the occasion. Again, we're all talking about guys that didn't necessarily play against like the top level of talent, except again, Cam Ward playing a Florida team that I know is not great, but if we're talking about all these guys, that's probably the somewhat, if not hardest by far level of talent that they're facing.
That's
Um,
an OP biased if it
but
suits me.
Oh yeah. But for Nico, he went 22 of 28, 314 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. I think that again, he really showed up in a point where I think that his name should really be towards the top of this list, if not at the top of the list. Again, really kind of dominated from a Tennessee overall perspective, but I think that from just being able to have that poised presence in the pocket, it's Nico time, and it's a play time for Jake. So put me up at the top of the list on that.
I'm also going to play, and I'm going to be playing a point and a half, or half a point, excuse me. Point and a half, I'm going to be playing him, and you might be asking yourself, well, why? Jackson Dart also did really well. Well, Nico helped me in my spread with Tennessee, so he gets that little edge. So a little bias there, but only a point or half a point because he had a thunderous run game behind him. They ended up with 300 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. So I'll be tentative. I'm also I like Tennessee football. That's just like my SEC team. So I'm gonna be tentative and
Bulls
keep
Nation.
Nico just a hair above for a play.
I'm exactly there with Drew. I'm definitely in and out play. Um, for me, the big thing is that Carson Beck and Nico play each other, and that's huge. You can invest in either side. Big game for stock buyers of either side. I'm definitely on Nico's side because I like Drew. It's fun watching the Bulls. It's orange. Can't go wrong with orange, right? Boise State bias is definitely influenced here. Um, but yeah, I mean that SEC schedule is it's tough. Like and they unlike Georgia, because I don't think Georgia. Well, maybe Georgia does. Was it Georgia or one of the SEC schools had a lot easier of a schedule, and I know it wasn't Tennessee. They end up playing Oklahoma, then they have to play Alabama, Georgia, and obviously the world beater of a team of UTEP. But that game's late, so So I don't expect there to be much opposition there. But yeah, no, I'm totally in on it. Yeah, a lot of the similar things for Jackson Dart, where it's like who survives that schedule, who comes out of the SEC untouched the most.
They're going to be playing NC State next week, and NC State played against Western Carolina, and Grayson McCall looked at absolute dog crap. So I think Tennessee will roll them, even though I thought NC State had a little bit more because I was a little bit of a Grayson McCall fan. So I think Tennessee rolls. But yes, I agree, Josh.
Well, one other thing that I'll throw in on Nico is again, we talked about this kind of insane week of college football from the quarterback perspective. These top 16 performances, Jackson Dart being number 4 on the list, Nico being number 16. So again, like he's this is an all-time performance that you saw from this guy in week 1. And again, playing a nothing burger, it's something that I wouldn't take a ton of stock in. But just with the way that college football has evolved and these guys are able to throw for such a high completion percentage and the way that these offenses can run so efficiently is definitely something to take note of. So Nico's the play for sure. On to our next person on our list. We've got Quinn Ewers, and the man out of Texas. Again, I think that when it comes to that game, got pulled at halftime. We got to see a little bit of Arch Manning too. It was definitely a little exciting at that point. I don't know how to read this. I'm curious to get your guys' opinion. I don't know if it's something where it's hard to say that he's a bench or a play because I feel like at the 6th position, like I want to see more out of him. You know what I mean? He came back for the year. We're seeing Arch have to sit for another season. I'm gonna put it as a play just to kind of keep it. He was efficient. He knocked it out. Give me a play for Quinn Ewers.
I'm going to be going the opposite side of the coin. I'm going to bench him one spot. It's just this. I watch him play, and I think he's bad, but then he looks really good. It's just so Jekyll and Hyde to where I can't get a read on him. But he does. He is very good. I'm not going to disagree. That game, he definitely came out a little shaky. Had one pick. Um, I don't know. I'm just gonna bench one spot because it's very hard. I can't get a read on him personally, so to say.
Yeah, I'm a bit of the same. I mean, I would definitely put him below the Alabama quarterback. I like Milrow better just because I think him running is awesome.
Can I add a point to that? I go back to the game where he played Bryce, what's his the Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young. I always go back to that game and I think, damn, Quinn Ewers sucks. I can't get sorry, but go ahead, Josh.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely had some. I mean, I feel like I have more negative memories of Quinn Ewers than I do a positive, and that might just be because I don't really care to watch Texas because they're. I mean, like again, like you can only have one program that you want to return to prominence, and for me, that's Miami. It's not Texas, so yeah, a little bit of a sell, a little bit of a bench.
Well, also, Josh, I feel like at that point there'd be too many teams that have orange in your repertoire that you're rooting for. You know what I mean? At that point, even if you're giving a little bit of a sprinkle of love to Tennessee there too, that's a little bit too many shades of orange. You know?
I mean, there's a little. It's not as vibrant. It's a little lifeless. It's boring.
Yeah. Okay.
Oranges,
You got a cow. Cows are cool, I
tangerines.
guess.
There you go. All righty. And then the final on our list, we have Jalen Milrow out of the University of Alabama at plus 1,200. Same odds that we had with Quinn Ewers. I'm definitely playing it. Josh just mentioned everything that we needed to talk about. The fact that he's got the dynamic ability of being able to go for just 10 rushing, 79 yards and 2 touchdowns, but then also going up on the passer side and being able to go 7 of 9 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I want to make a point that if Jalen Milrow had completed 5 more passes during that game, and let's just say that it's at the same percentage that he threw, so 7 of 9, so he's probably getting about 3 or 4 of these completed. That would have been the top quarterback efficiency performance of all time, and it would have edged out the performance of anybody. Want to take a guess of who this weekend in a random college football game ended up having the number 1 performance? And I shouldn't say just this weekend; it should be in week 0 or in week 1. Any crazy games that we can remember that we haven't talked about this quarterback or this team, I think at all on the podcast. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Do
Um,
we get a division? Do we get a division?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That whole reaction right there might have made it a clue. But Pac-12.
oh my God, I knew I was John Mater.
It
this
is
year.
indeed. Look at this guy throwing the dings, throwing the confetti cannons, the everything. That is a hell of an answer, my friend. But John Mateer threw 11 of 17 for 352 yards, 5 touchdowns in a 70-30 win versus Portland State. So that is your number one passer efficiency performance of all time. Jalen Milroe would have been number one of the list, but the Cougar took it. But we're buying Milroe Heisman stock.
Yeah, as I was scrolling, I was like, what game could that possibly be? And I saw, oh, this game had 100 points, and then you said Pac-12, and I was like, well, it has to be this one.
It's got to
So,
be. It's always a gong
Not the
show
Beavers.
whenever it's the Pac-12.
but I'm gonna move up Jaden Milroe 2 spots for the Heisman race. Now, these stats might hurt him down the line when you're looking at the end, like, oh, the stats and the wins may not be totally add up. But I mean, throwing 7 completions and having 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, just throwing bombs down the field,
Gross.
85 yards long to one receiver, 40, 39. So elite. And we have a good track record of him last year, especially with that Alabama, like, oh, who are we going to play? We don't know. It's like, it's Jaden Milroe. Nick Saban knew what he was doing. It took only a few weeks. So I think Jaden Milroe, play him about 2 spots. I think he's going to do really well for Alabama this year.
Yeah, I would play him the same. I'd play him a little higher. I might be sipping a bit of the hype train of that one, but yeah, I definitely agree with him as far as like an Alabama quarterback, especially where you have a new coach at that program. There's new expectations. I mean, there's obviously still probably continued expectations more than likely, and I think if they even play to that level and they'll act like that's some kind of adverse they'll act like that's some kind of what is it, adversity, or that's something like that Alabama has to face because they got a new quarterback that's not Nick Saban. But yeah, I'm definitely in on him. I'd move him up probably third on my list,
Yeah. So,
because he's probably what the only real dual man. No, I guess Cam Ward, because Cam Ward ran pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, I'd say that Milroe is probably the top of the dual threats that you see on that list, but Cam Ward, I think, has got some sneaky ability too. I think that, obviously we're listing off the top 10 with odds right now. Are there any honorable mentions? I feel like we've got to mention the one and only the prodigal son, Noah Fafita, obviously. And if
Mhm.
not Noah Fafita, then it's definitely Tederayo McMillan. But I mean, what are our thoughts? Like, I mean, are we buying more of the stock? I saw that his odds were at plus 4,000 for Fafita. So is it something that we're playing, we're benching? Where are we at?
I mean, I think it's tougher this year with just the wide receiving core just kind of only really being centered around McMillan, and he is so clearly like an NFL level wide receiver
Unreal.
that it almost could be a deterrent to Noah, because I can like if you buy stock in Kyler Murray, then you could probably buy stock in Noah Fafita. But yeah, I'd be more on McMillan's side than I would be Fafita, but they're both exceptional.
if anyone's going to ruin Noah Fifito's Heisman race, it's going to be our defense. But that said, that's later to be seen. But for the wide receiver room, I was kind of upset in Montana Lamonius Craig. I think he's pretty good. He had a decent season last year. I like him. We have a good tight end with Keon Burnett, and then Quali Conley. Hopefully, he catches more passes out of the backfield, but we shall see.
Yeah, so we're all obviously high on Fafita, and we'll hopefully see one of those Heisman trophies in Tucson one of these days. But are there any other honorable mentions or other guys that you guys are playing for the Heisman right now outside of the list? I see Josh shaking his head. I can only imagine the devious play that's coming. What do you got, my friend?
Oh, it's easily for me. It's Ashton Genty. I mean, he had 20 carries for 267 yards, 6 TDs, and
Diabolical.
13.4 yard average. Like anytime he handed the ball, if there was somebody in front of him, he'd run him over. If there was somebody chasing him, he'd outpace him. I mean, we watched him genuinely, like that one clip where the guy's limping, holding the back leg, running, and he's like, he's putting the team on his shoulder. Like literally, Genty dived into the end
Greg
zone
Jennings.
for one of
Damon Sharper, hardest hitting safety in the league.
over
I
into the
put the
end
team
zone,
on my
and
back door.
his calf cramped up, and they had to review it to see if it was a touchdown. But yeah, he literally was cramping up because he was just outrunning everybody, and he still returned after that and had another touchdown run. So yeah, I mean, there certainly will be pumping runs to him to just try to get him in any conversation they can because he will probably be drafted pretty high, well, semi highly, probably a third, second round. It depends on how the rest of the running back rooms look. I know that there are certainly better prospects out there on better teams, but yeah, I know that him returning this year was huge for me as a Boise State fan because he is appointment viewing anytime that you can watch it.
And he joins hopefully a long list of some BSU to NFL connections. So I mean, again, that guy would anytime that you're putting up 6 touchdowns in a like actual game and not like a we're playing like PlayStation type thing, like it's definitely a that's a hell of a performance. Drew, anybody on your side that you're buying on the Heisman watch list that we didn't just go over?
Just Tetaroa McMillan and Noah Fafita, man.
Let's go.
2024, make it happen. So
Hey, I
that's all
love
Soul
I
it.
Train,
had.
woot woot.
Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. And so we are going to transition into our next segment for worst or best tweet of the week.
What did he say?
What do you mean by that?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I wanted to go off first, but apparently in the news, Patrick Mahomes says Taylor Swift has been drawing up plays and joked that the Chiefs might have to put one in for her. And then somebody created a tweet, and it was he put her private jet for one of the plays because that's only how she could ever travel.
It's phenomenal. I love it.
And then going back to Florida Gators, one of their players put F this team with the middle finger on his story after they lost the game. Like, what are you thinking? Like, what?
Dude, I saw all the comments on that where it was like the
Oh
fact
my
that you're
God.
losing players to the transfer portal in August is insane.
Yeah, these kids are so soft.
Oh,
Just
so gross.
stick it out. You've
Oh,
committed
yeah.
to a school. Stick it out.
Afraid.
All right, who wants to go next?
Get it, Josh.
Okay, I'll go next. Mine is an F1 troll tweet, and it says, "Which strategy will win?" And it's one picture of Oscar Piastri, if you're not an F1 fan. The other picture is Charles Leclerc on the right, who, if you did not know, he won the race today in Monza. But Piastri says, "Double pit stop, overcut calculation through tire degradation, physics formulas and NASA supercomputers, or fuck it, we ball." And so, yeah, literally, Charles Leclerc won because he decided to have a one-stop strategy and he just continued to nurse those tires all the way to the finish line, baby. Track position was king.
He's got cool guy energy, you know what I mean? So I'm not surprised that that's just his check down mentality or that mentality every time.
There are definitely a large percentage of audio clips of him doing strategy himself like 2 seasons ago when I don't know, they were calculating with something like a watermelon attached to a potato. I couldn't tell you.
They're trying something there and it wasn't something. Well, I will tell you that my best tweet that I saw, it was from Thursday football, college football opening, and it's just the absolute demon mode of having a parlay armband. And I will tell you that if you go through this guy's picks, he's had Rutgers minus 36.5 versus Howard, which did not hit because Howard lost by 37, but guess what? That's Howard plus 37, which we
Yep.
were on, which
Howard.
is disgusting. But hey, Howard cashed and we love it. They had Lafayette versus Buffalo at plus 3.5. Lafayette cashed. Minnesota versus UNC. That one didn't cash. And then the Tulane, they had the
You two would
Tulane,
know.
yeah, the Tulane under at 53.5, which hysterically enough, Tulane won 52-0. So that did actually end up hitting. And then Illinois ended up beating Eastern Illinois by or they did cover 28 because they won 45-0. So unfortunately, this guy did not have the best of armband parlays, but I will tell you, damn it, I want to see more of those throughout social media. That was a lead.
Like a TV remote of old, the armband was plastered on the wall at halftime of one of those games.
And he went viral because this is from BR betting. In week 0, he went 4 for 4. So he was trying to run it back in week 1 and only went 3 for 5. But damn valiant effort, I will tell you that. The Minnesota missed field goal. that hasn't gotten enough hate, in my opinion. Did you guys see the fact that they set off the fireworks and then
Yeah.
they missed the field goal, and then it was just like, oh, celebration. Ridiculous.
Yeah, they can rode
Oh,
that boat down the Minnesota fan tiers. Hope anybody caught that joke.
oh my
But
gosh.
very good tweet, Jake. All right. We are going to our top five game day foods, and we're going to be drafting. I'll be going first. Number one, first overall pick. Give me buffalo wings. Buffalo wings, always good. Always good to have that tangy, vinegary taste. Gotta love it. Gotta have it. Give me buffalo wings at one.
So number two, I will definitely be taking mozzarella sticks. I think, I mean, it's kind of a boomer bust pick there because you never know where, from what place you might get the quality. Either it's a frozen type or it's something hard, like handmade by a chef in the back.
All right. Yeah, I can play with these first two. I was expecting this game from you two. All right. So with the first one, I'm just gonna go with a Miller Lite. I'm gonna take the beer one. I'm gonna knock it out of the way. I know what I want. That makes my game day for me. It's my go-to traditional. So give me that. And my next one I'm gonna go with chili. I feel like that's like the perfect, like, you put it in a crock pot, you make it all the way around. I want to make it myself. I'm happy to get it from a restaurant. Put me down for some meats and beans. Give me there.
So wrap around, we're back to me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be taking pretzels. Salty,
Oh,
cheesy, mustard, doesn't
Tough beat.
matter. Dip it in whatever. It goes great with beer. Beer will be picked later.
uh, all right. Well, I did not see that. I had pretzels on my board. I'm gonna wrap around and give me buffalo chicken dip. You gotta love putting in the crock pot. Literally, I put the crock pot in front of me and just scoop it out myself because I'm a pig.
Hey, this
Um,
guy is putting buffalo chicken dip on his buffalo wings, baby. Let's go. I
yeah,
love it.
maybe a little, not enough variety. And then I'm gonna wrap around. Give me nachos loaded, ground beef, jalapenos, the nacho cheese, some tomato, beans, you name it. Cut up and avocado. Another nice touch. So give me nachos.
So I think for my third pick, I'm gonna take an IPA, and mostly that's just because personal news. My stomach does not digest light beers well, so I'm forced to be the guy that has to drink IPAs all the time. But still, we ball.
Hey, making it happen. Well, for my next pick, uh, I'm gonna go with the hot dog. I'm gonna go with the hot dog. Give me just something that not only can I take my other pick of being able to take chili and now put it on said hot dog, but now I can wash it down with a beer. I love that. And then if it's coming back to me again, I don't know how this wasn't picked, but I clearly have the best party of all time. I'm gonna go with pizza. And I'm just gonna take that one. And again, my party right now has got hot dogs, chili, pizza, and beer. So find me in the comments.
That pizza was a pretty good pick. I should have had that on my board.
Back to you,
I'm gonna
Josh.
I'm gonna continue with a themed list, I guess, of finger food, and I'm gonna go with deviled eggs. A
Ooh,
lot of
great
customizable
choice.
options.
Deep
Easily
cut.
can just you can throw like I mean I could throw too many in my mouth, and we can clip that out for later. But absolutely, I will be taking deviled eggs.
Not too shabby. I'm gonna go ahead and give me sliders, burger sliders.
Good answer.
Easy, just pop them in. They go quick, delicious. Gotta love it. And then for my last pick, give me Coors, the banquet beer for my beer of choice for this game day evening or
There
day.
we go. Make sure the mountains are cold or mountains are blue.
Absolutely. Mountains are always blue.
So I guess I lied, and I am gonna incorporate a forked food into my list. And with the value pick, we will be taking mac and cheese.
That's a good value.
And I think that's all I need to say. It's a value pick, and it's mac and cheese. Nobody's mad about a mac and cheese.
No one is mad about a mac and cheese. But I think that you guys might be mad about where my final head went. Again, I'm going for the full party around here, right? So we've got Miller Lights, we've got hot dogs, chili, pizza, and then final one, we're just gonna go with freshly baked cookies. We're gonna go that as our sweet treat to be able to kind of knock it off. Give me kind of that full tailgate vibe. Again, we're going with fresh baked because you can always go grab something, but something that's got that kind of pure to it. That's what I'm in for.
Football shaped Rice Krispie treats.
I
Ooh,
saw
look at
that
you.
online. I thought about that.
So it
Only
looks
my
like we
OLI.
all so it looks like we all went on Pinterest and found found some game day meal ideas, right?
Let's
No,
do
just me. Okay, cool.
let's do a quick honorable mentions we had for just a minute. So starting now for about a minute. Any honorable mentions? I had ribs. Ribs would have been sick.
Ooh,
I was
I like that.
contemplating those.
A jalapeno popper.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Cheese and bean dip. A 7-layer dip.
I was just gonna say if you said 5 layer, I was gonna be like 7.
Potato chips. Nobody said potato chips. Kind of a
Mhm.
miss there.
I think of chips and guac, chips and salsa is like a easy filler, right?
Yeah.
I had pigs in a blanket, but you took hot dogs, so you pretty much took the dog category. So I was kind of bummed out on that.
Hey,
Balls,
sorry, I'm just a dog. It'd be like that, you know.
Bruh.
Arrgh.
meatballs in there. Barbecue chicken.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good
another
answer.
good one.
Somebody will be really upset that none of us had fried pickles, and I apologize.
Oh, I've been on a pickle
Another good
binge too.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll wrap up the top five, and that'll wrap up the show. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Make sure you tell a friend to watch the show. Go out watch Spotify, TikTok, go follow our Twitter. All the links will be in the description. And this was another episode of Bros in the Bleachers podcast.
Later, bros.